For 70 years, nothing has been achieved. Do you think things are really going to move? Because, United Nations doesn't seem to be is not being seen as a very powerful body in this day and age.
Actually, still there is a politics. Like, one hand, United States saying that in Afghanistan they are combating with extremist Al Qaeda, and in Libya they are supporting them. In Syria, Bashar al-Assad is a secular Muslim. So all the secular leadership, Muslim secular leadership, was eliminated, and promoting the coup against them in different parts, like in Indonesia, in different parts. Even in Pakistan, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was a liberal person. He was persecuted although there was a martial law, but some of the forces who don't like him,
So what should be done to Pakistan? Should they be, the military power should be curtailed? What are you looking at?
Pakistan should, especially the military general, should allow democracy to flourish. Military generals should respect the freedom of speech, and no more any institution is holy cow. Then I think Pakistan will develop and the democracy will take root.
But in this day and age, it seems that superpowers, China, Russia, Iran, they're having more of a say in such matters, and places like United Nations are becoming weaker.
I think the China is interested in the trade routes. He want to sell her commodities, garments. But if there is a strong movement, like in Balochistan, in Sindh, then China will not come to save Pakistan. Like in 1971, when Bengali people stood against this kind of discrimination, slavery, China will not come. United States will not come. But at this moment, our regional powers, actually, they are very confused. And they have not courage. Like in 1971, there was a courageous leader like Indira Gandhi. Now there is no leaders.
So what's your view on Mr. Modi?
I think Modi have no goods. Although he is a very vocal and he has many promises.
But he is
living under pressure of different extremist groups and I think religious groups. So he is unable to deliver something in the interest of regions or even in his own people, in my opinion.
He's been there for a short while and he's trying to get the country developed, and he's on to policies. He's gone to Pakistan to meet Nawaz Sharif, and he goes and he tries to make amends. So do you think he cannot deliver issues for you?
Because if he visited Pakistan, he has no any danger to lose. Because in Pakistan there are many groups who actually want war with India. They are against India. It is the Pakistani state policy. So if he is trying to neutralize such elements, and even Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, he is also very generous and he is always talking good relationship with India. But he has no powers. But in India there is the strong democratic institutions. They encourage their leaderships, and Modi have courage. But unfortunately, his understanding, I have a constraint to resolve the issues. Even in Indian administrator Kashmir, last 2 months, there is a chaos. There is no government, and even Modi is not resolved this issue. How can we appoint a new chief ministers?
But it's just a short space of time that he's been actually in power. So,
It's the democratic
you know,
forces.
you had 70 years of Congress government in India. They did nothing. So Modi ji's just been around for over a year or two.
The Congress, the secularism is promoting, and the secular forces have courage to say everything on different issues. But now, different religious fanatic groups, they are not allowed you to even hold a musical functions. They are not allowed you to invite any Muslim singers. So you did not see what kind of India at this moment is showing his face. We hope, we are very optimistic about India, but at this moment, the Indian secular forces is marginalized, in my opinion, and they have no courage to curb such kind of extremist element. They are not allowed cricket, they are not allowed musical functions, they are not allowed people to speak, and registered cases against anybody who is before. It was India. Many people speaking against even Indian integrity, Indian sovereignty. But even then, they were safe. They propaganding India in the whole world. And after that, when they returned in Delhi airport, safely they reached their houses. But at this moment, Indian
Time will tell.
intellectuals,
Well, time will tell. We'll see how far it gets. Thank you for talking to us. We're just moving on to. Yep.
My name is Singit Sening. I come from Gilgit-Baltistan and I represent Gilgit-Baltistan National Congress.
And you know, what are you? You're here demonstrating with regards
I'm
to.
here to protest Pakistan's interference in Gilgit-Baltistan. It's a UN-declared disputed area. And United Nations has asked Pakistan to withdraw from Gilgit-Baltistan, but instead of doing that, what Pakistan is doing is exploiting our resources, inviting other countries like China to come and exploit our resources without giving any revenue to the local people, without offering any representation in the policy making and implementation. And Gilgit-Baltistan's land and people have been abused. We are facing cultural genocide. We are facing a huge, massive demographic change. And in the coming years, it seems like Gilgit-Baltistan will become the battlefield of major nuclear powers in the world, especially the ones surrounding us like Pakistan, India, and China. So we are here to protest, and we want United Nations to acknowledge the fact that Gilgit-Baltistan is a disputed area, and unless this dispute is solved, the international community should not interfere in Gilgit-Baltistan, especially to establish businesses and exploit resources, because that just complicates the issue and it doesn't give anything to the local people. And resource exploitation and development should happen with the consultation of the local people and fair and equal representation of the local people.
You said you don't want the international community to interfere. So what do you want them to do?
Fair in local exploitation of the resources. We want them to acknowledge the fact that Gilgit-Baltistan is disputed, and they should join us to communicate to the United Nations that it's a disputed area. Hence, it should take an active part on behalf of the local people who are oppressed. They should stand with us and not the exploiters. So interference in a way that the international community, especially when I'm talking about international community, I'm talking about China at the point, because they are spending about $50 billion in Gilgit-Baltistan in the form of CPAC. So China should realize that its involvement in Gilgit-Baltistan without the permission of the people of Gilgit-Baltistan is actually complicating the issue, the dispute between India and Pakistan, and prolonging the issue, and it is not in favor of anyone. So we want China to play a very positive role, and that is engage with India and Pakistan and with the world and with the United Nations, and try to persuade them to solve this issue, give local people genuine representation and autonomy, and then talk to the local people, because the local people are the owner of the land and resources.
So what do you want the UN to really do and assist you, and how?
Well, United Nations Security Council passed this resolution. So basically, we are a UN declared disputed area. We are the primary responsibility of the United Nations. United Nations' job is to persuade Pakistan to respect UN resolutions and withdraw its citizens as well as forces from the area. And unless Pakistan takes a positive attitude and responsibility and show respect to the UN resolutions, we do not see this impasse being solved. So that is what United Nations need to do to persuade Pakistan and engage with Pakistan and try to show that they stand with the marginalized people and oppressed people of Gilgit-Baltistan, because we believe that the local people have the right over their land and resources. And what Pakistan and China are doing in Gilgit-Baltistan is not with the consultation and permission of the local people. And since we are a UN declared disputed area, it is United Nations' primary responsibility to ensure that Pakistan is there only to it's a temporary setup that Pakistan has been given there, and it's there only to protect the life, honor, and assets of the local people and not exploit local land and resources and hurt local identity and culture. So I think that is a very clear message to the United Nations.
But Pakistan says that Baltistan is part of Pakistan. What is your?
Never said it. No Pakistani official has ever said it.
But they seem to think it's part of.
They do not. Their views, their official documents are very clear. There are some segments within Pakistan, especially people belonging to Pakistan People's Party and the Shia parties, who would like Gilgit-Baltistan to eventually become part of Pakistan. But that's a different issue. That's their own view. But official documents always state that Gilgit-Baltistan is a disputed area. Actually, recently, just a week ago, Minister for Kashmir Affairs, he went to the parliament and gave a written statement saying that Gilgit-Baltistan is a disputed area, it's not part of Pakistan, and any discussion about Gilgit-Baltistan in Pakistani parliament is unconstitutional and illegal.
Is it not? Is it part of Jammu and Kashmir then?
It is part of the former princely state of Jammu and Kashmir. And the United Nations has acknowledged a local authority in Gilgit-Baltistan till the resolution of Kashmir. So it has acknowledged that Gilgit-Baltistan should have autonomy, its own setup, its own identity, and then negotiate with India, Pakistan, and other groups in Jammu and Kashmir to reach to the final settlement.
I mean, because Pakistan has made statements about Baltistan being part of them, what impact does this have on the indigenous population?
Well, the fact that Gilgit-Baltistan is disputed and does not have any constitutional rights mean that Gilgit-Baltistan does not have any constitutional governing system. That means that it does not have the institutions to protect local identity, local resources, local interest. That means that we are literally a hostage to the Kashmir issue. And that means that Pakistanis can do whatever they want without permission of the local people. So that's, an implication that we're talking about that has like long-term consequences and impact on the local people. We will be turned into minority. United Nations has asked Pakistan to not settle its citizens in Gilgit-Baltistan. It's very clear. Yet Pakistan is changing local demography. United Nations has asked Pakistan to give authority to the locals, who will work with the United Nations to maintain peace and order till the resolution of Kashmir, and yet Pakistan has been interfering in Gilgit-Baltistan. The implications are very, far-reaching, and it is going to hurt the local people. It is going to hurt our identity, our languages, our culture, our religions, our resources, our livelihoods, and it is going to create more chaos. And we're like Switzerland. We're right in the middle of 4 major nations, and maintaining peace in Gilgit-Baltistan is vital if we want peace in the entire Asia, especially South Asia. So I think the implications are global as well as local.
And what will be the impact of PCEP, the Pakistan-China Economic Corridor, on Gilgit-Baltistan?
Well, first of all, CPAC is built without having anyone from Gilgit-Baltistan in the local CPAC committee, without giving representation to Gilgit-Baltistan in Council of Common Interest, in National Economic Commission, in National Finance Commission, in National Hydroelectric Board, in Indus River System Authority, right? All these institutions are very important because Pakistan wants to exploit our rivers to build dams there. It wants to exploit our transit system to connect to China, and China wants to connect to Pakistan to go to the Indian ports, Indian Ocean ports. So without our permission, without our representation, everything is being done. Now CPAC is not just a route. It involves industrial zones. It involves economic zones. None of them will be established in Gilgit-Baltistan. This has been made clear by Senator Mushahid Hussain Sayyid, who is on the CPAC committee, that Gilgit-Baltistan will not get anything out of it. So I think the implications are far-reaching, and we will be exploited and abused, but not given the due share. And I think one of the reasons I am here is to talk about that, that Pakistan should respect the will of the local people and give them due share.
And so you want to, you want to have a complete independent status and stand on your own 2 feet as a country?
National Congress believes in freedom. We believe that Pakistan does not have the capacity to give us rights, because the United Nations consider Pakistan an aggressor in Gilgit-Baltistan and has asked Gilgit-Baltistan to withdraw. To withdraw from Gilgit-Baltistan. So unless Pakistan withdraws, there's no progress on Kashmir issue. And if there's no progress on Kashmir issue, we cannot have citizenship of Pakistan or have our own country. So I think Pakistan has created an impasse where it does not have the capacity to give us rights, yet it's not willing to leave the region and end occupation. So we believe that the only way Pakistan can accommodate local people is give us a temporary setup, like the one that prevails in Azad Kashmir, for instance, and then play a positive and active role in solving the Kashmir issue. And after that, let the people of Gilgit-Baltistan decide whether they want freedom or they want to join India or Pakistan or China or whichever option they like. But until then, there should be complete, genuine autonomy in Gilgit-Baltistan with minimum interference as suggested by the United Nations.
And how do you see the role of India in this whole issue?
Well, India has played a passive role when it comes to the disputed parts on the Pakistani side. If you are a stakeholder and you're not playing an active role, that means you're basically trying to prolong the impasse. You're not playing a positive role, you're not playing a role at all. And that is really frustrating. We believe that India and Pakistan have to engage. Unfortunately, there are a lot of other things happening in Kashmir, for instance, terrorism and the Taliban activity in Gilgit-Baltistan. And, Pakistan need to show its sincerity. And India need to show its sincerity. Open Kargil-Skardu Road. 15,000 people who belong to Gilgit-Baltistan and Ladakh are divided right now. And they want the line of control to open so they could meet their loved ones. So they need to show sincerity, and they need to show that they're willing to solve this problem, which is a win-win situation for everyone.
We had 70 years of Congress rule in India. Now you have the Modi government. He's trying to make moves and he's trying to bring about peaceful solutions. How do you see this?
Well, again, you need at least two parties to move forward. And I think if India and Pakistan are not talking on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, then there's some stumbling blocks that need to be removed. And I believe that, the British foreign minister, he said something really nice. And he said, put the Kashmir issue in the back burner, open the borders, let people travel, let the divided family members meet each other, let trade flourish. And then eventually let the people in Ladakh and Gilgit-Baltistan talk to each other, let people in Kashmir talk to each other, and then create an environment that will eventually solve the issue. It will not only help solve the Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan issue, it will also strengthen South Asia. It'll bring Afghanistan, Pakistan, India together. And I think that's a very good idea. I've always supported that. And I think Kashmir issue is a chronic problem. It's not going to get solved within few weeks or few months or few years. You need to open the borders and start with peace building mission and CBMs, and then let the things move in a natural way.
Will this happen in your lifetime?
I hope so. As they say, you plant a tree, you don't expect to sit in the shade. I'm part of the movement, an ongoing movement which started in Gilgit-Baltistan a long time ago. And I do believe that there will be people who will come after me, and eventually we'll see something happen.
Thank you for talking to us. Now we have with us. Sorry, your name is Mehran?
Yes, it is.
And who do you represent?
I'm the Baloch representative to the United Nations and EU.
Okay. Mehran, tell me, what is the current status of human rights in your part of the world?
The human rights situation in Balochistan is appalling, and it has been since 1948 when we were illegally occupied by Pakistan. But in the last decade, I think it has amplified and accelerated to a different level, especially with the Chinese involvement in Balochistan, or the loot of Balochistan, the hand-in-hand of Chinese and Punjabis to loot and plunder Baloch wealth, has really brought the human rights situation to a very dangerous level now. To fulfill their desires of CPAC, they have really embarked on they've embarked on this journey of burning houses, kidnapping women, and it's taken a different dimension now. So therefore, it's very important that we come to the United Nations and protest over here, because the United Nations was formed to protect and intervene in cases where there's human rights violations. So what could be a better forum than this?
But what do you really want from the United Nations?
I want the United Nations to implement the will for human rights. It has the mechanisms. But I've been coming here for the past 15 years. It's not doing what it was made to do.
It's become a weaker organization, a lot of people seem to think.
It's not weak if it wants to. That's what I'm saying. We're here to come and encourage it to prevail. It's not prevailing. The United Nations is not a bogus organization that just is a rubber stamp. No, it's not like that, but the will is lacking. I understand there's a lot of international political angles to everything. Certain areas, the human rights violations are acknowledged straight away. And Pakistan is a very conniving nation. It has really played with the international community. Played is the wrong word. It has blackmailed the international community throughout since its creation.
So what can the international community do, or what are you expecting from them?
Ideally, I think the international community should send armed forces, because the human rights situation in Balochistan is
Military.
Send NATO forces. Why not? Carry out a referendum. If Pakistan says we're happy to carry out a referendum, if Baloch want to be with Pakistan, fair enough. There's international mechanisms. There's procedures. What Pakistan is doing is absolutely against international law and international humanitarian law.
And with regards, what is happening in Gwadar, the deep sea pool?
See, Gwadar is exactly a prime example of the Chinese and Pakistani, the CPAC mission to loot and plunder Baloch wealth. And it's not only about plundering Baloch wealth, it's very dangerous for the future, especially for the neighboring countries and the region.
It's been leased to China for 100 years?
Yes, basically it's been sold to China. And China is...
But they've put in a lot of investment.
They have. Can you imagine? China is quite a cutthroat capitalist country. So if it has put in a lot of investment, you can imagine they want to reap the rewards, and at the cost of Baloch lives. That's why I call it the blood dollars.
And how are people in your part of the world totally opposed to this? Leased to China?
Of course. Balochistan was illegally occupied. It's a disputed territory. It was illegally occupied by Pakistan. Who is Pakistan and Islamabad to decide our fate and sell our land or our resources to China? It's an illegal broker. Pakistan has no jurisdiction to sell our wealth to anyone.
And how do you see the Baloch struggle going forward?
It's slow, but it's moving ahead. It's moving forward. Awareness is increasing. Although Pakistan's criminal activities in Balochistan and human rights violation is increasing, but the Baloch awareness is increasing as well. So we're very optimistic. In the near future, we will see a free Balochistan.
And and the Pakistani government has been talking about foreign hand in Baluch struggle. What are your views on this?
They've used this excuse since the occupation. First they said it's the Russians, then they said it's the Israelis, then now they say it's Indians, then they said it's Iran, then they say it's Gulf states. It never looks at its own doings. What's happening in Balochistan is primarily because of illegal occupation, secondary because of the human rights violations committing. It's kidnapping women, kidnapping children, looting and plundering houses. So of course Baloch are going to react. So there's no need for a foreign hand. Pakistan is doing enough to get a reaction like this from Baloch nation.
And do you want to have an independent status, a complete breakaway from Pakistan, and have your own government?
Of course, we were not part of Pakistan. We were forcibly annexed in 1948 on the 27th of March. So we want reinstatement of our sovereignty and independence.
If if the partition didn't take place in 1947, do you think Baluch would have been better off as part of Greater India?
Of course, there's no doubt about that. That Balochistan would be far better off because Balochistan was a sovereign princely state in India. So since Pakistan's occupation, our people have suffered, our land has suffered, and Pakistan is an illegal entity. There's no such thing as Punjabi-dominated Pakistan. So it's a fake country built on the basis of hatred Hindus, built on the supremacy of Muslims. It's an artificial entity and it will disintegrate just the way it came into being.
And how do you see the role of India in all this?
India should be proactive as India is seeking a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council. So with that status, you have responsibility. India has to show that it's a responsible superpower in the region. Therefore, taking up the Baloch issue by India is very important, and I think this is about time that India should talk.
And how far have you progressed with the UN, so with regards to all your issues?
It's very slow, it's painstaking, but we're getting there. We have to be optimistic.
And how optimistic are you it'll happen in your lifetime?
I really hope so. It happens in my lifetime, but it will happen.
So the main issues you want is good human rights, all the human rights issues to be solved, and you want an independent status, not belonging to Pakistan or to India.
No, we want a sovereign, independent Balochistan. It's very simple. We were sovereign and independent. We want to regain our independence again.
Will you get it? Do you think Pakistan is going to let you go because Gwadar is very important and they've leased it to China, and surely that's going to be very difficult for them to let you go.
Of course, Pakistan is an enterprise. It's a big company run by the Punjabis. It's a profit-making company. Of course, we will not let go. Why do you think they're committing genocide in Balochistan? Because if Balochistan is not with Pakistan, half of Pakistan will have to eat grass. They don't have any mineral resources to survive on. They need our land, they need our resources. So they are desperate, of course. They will try their utmost to keep us occupied.
I wish you all the best for your future struggles, and hopefully, I hope you get what you're looking for one day, and there'll be peace in your part of the world. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
I'm standing here behind the United Nations building where there's been a demonstration by 4 groups, mainly the Sindh, Balochistan, Gilgit and Baltistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, with regards to wanting their independence and status and wanting Pakistan to stop interfering in their own issues there. And also they've been talking to the United Nations with regards to human rights issues, which they feel the international community and the world at large has completely ignored them, and they feel it's time an active stance was taken. So I'm here with my cameraman Balu and technician Dave Taylor, and this is Tilusha Vyas reporting from Geneva in Switzerland.